September presents itself as a month laden with meanings and hidden intentions, a period where the ordinary gives way to the extraordinary, and every moment seems imbued with an almost tangible weight. For those walking with a higher purpose, this is the time when the universe aligns in a unique way, offering not only opportunities, but also tests that demand courage and surrender. It is not just another month on the calendar. It is a phase of transition where light and darkness meet in a subtle yet intense manner. For the chosen ones, September is a spiritual battleground, a space where the light must reaffirm itself in the face of the shadows that try to swallow all that is pure and true. There is an energy that circulates, almost like a constant whisper, calling us to look beyond the visible, to feel what lies behind each event, each glance. It is as if the doors of the invisible have opened, revealing truths that were once hidden, demanding from us a stance, a decision. This month is not for those who prefer the safety of the known, but for those who are willing to face the challenges that arise with the intensity of the unexpected. September carries with it promises, but also demands positions. It is a time of definitions, where the call becomes clear, and the need to move forward asserts itself with a force that cannot be ignored. Each day, a choice. With each choice, a new direction. And what is at stake is not only what is seen, but what is felt in the deepest layers of the self. This is the scenario September brings for the chosen ones. A silent yet persistent invitation to walk with firmness, without fear, towards what truly matters. The spiritual battle unfolding in September is subtle yet devastating. It does not take place on visible fields, but in the recesses of the soul, in the corners of the mind, where thoughts and feelings intertwine in a silent duel. For the chosen ones, this struggle is not a mere figure of speech, but a tangible reality, manifested in every encounter, in every situation that tests character and faith. The world around us becomes a stage where negative forces attempt to infiltrate stealthily, seeking to undermine the light we carry. These forces are not abstract concepts, but real presences manifesting in the attitudes and behaviors of those we encounter. There is a sort of weight that descends upon the environment, a sense of resistance that tries to extinguish the brilliance of what is good and true. Recognizing these invisible movements is a delicate but necessary task for those who wish to move forward without being dragged by the dark currents that rise. September brings an intensification of these forces. It is a month where envy becomes more evident, as if every step forward made by someone who shines awakens a silent fury in those who have not found their own light. The spirit of fear, in turn, whispers insecurities, projecting the most insidious doubts into minds, transforming confidence into apprehension, courage into hesitation. The spirit of intimidation appears in the form of harsh glances, hurtful words, and attempts at manipulation aimed at controlling, subduing, and dimming the brilliance of those who stand out. These forces act like shadows, seeking gaps to infiltrate and distort the perception of reality. They manifest in those who, whether consciously or not, allow themselves to be guided by their influences, revealing a vulnerability that cannot be ignored. For the chosen ones, the battle is constant and demands vigilance, discernment, and a deep connection with the inner source of light. It is necessary to have clarity to distinguish what is genuine from what is manipulation, what is inherent from what is imposed. September is not just about resisting, but understanding what one faces and how it reflects on who we are and the choices we make. Recognizing these forces is the first step to not being consumed by them. It is a war not won with brute force, but with the lucidity of those who know that the light they carry within is greater than any darkness attempting to smother it. September demands this firm stance from those who do not retreat in the face of the unseen, but feel it with intensity. Facing envy and fear is like walking through a minefield where every step demands caution and awareness. These feelings, which appear like shadows disguised in small gestures and glances, have the power to destabilize even the most steadfast. For the chosen ones, September is a month when these spirits manifest with unusual force, as if to test the resilience of those who stand out. Envy and fear are not just emotions. They are presences acting in the lives of those who are affected by the light of others. The story of overcoming begins with the ability to recognize these feelings before they contaminate the heart. Envy presents itself when someone's light illuminates the internal shadows of those who watch. It arises silently, hidden in slanted smiles and malicious words disguised as advice. Much like Joseph, who was sold by his own brothers, many of us face the misunderstanding and hostility of those who, unable to deal with their own limitations, turn admiration into resentment. The story of Joseph teaches us that even when we are cast into the deep pits of rejection and betrayal, there is a greater force guiding us towards a higher purpose. Joseph, betrayed, imprisoned, and forgotten, never lost connection with his mission, and every challenge faced became a stepping stone leading him to an unimaginable destiny. Fear, on the other hand, is a silent enemy that corrupts from within. It is like a slow poison that paralyzes dreams and stifles courage. Jesus, in his journey, faced fear that manifested in others as a barrier to his mission. The religious leaders, fearing the loss of their control, saw in Jesus not just a man, but a threat to what they knew. They reacted with hostility, seeking to silence him in every possible way. But each act of intimidation only strengthened the certainty of the path he was meant to follow. Overcoming fear is not a matter of reckless bravery, but of remaining faithful to the truth that beats within, even when the world around seems to collapse. These stories of overcoming show us that envy and fear are inevitable for those who carry a light that disturbs. Being chosen often means being a target, but it also means having the opportunity to transform each adversity into living proof that the purpose is greater than any attempt to extinguish it. It is not just about resisting, but walking with the conviction that, no matter how much darkness rises, the light will always find a way to make itself known. Manipulation and intimidation are silent, yet deeply corrosive weapons, used by those who feel the need to control what they cannot understand. For the chosen ones, these forces become even more evident in September, when the light they carry begins to disturb those living in the shadows of insecurity. Manipulators do not reveal their intentions openly. They hide behind false smiles, bitter words disguised as kindness, and gestures that, at first glance, appear friendly. It is as if they thrive on doubt, the fear of failure, and the sense of inadequacy they try to instill in others. Intimidation arises as a desperate attempt to subdue someone else's light. It is a direct attack on self-esteem, a continuous effort to make the other feel small, incapable, and undeserving of their own space. Those under the influence of this spirit use their words like knives, their actions like invisible chains that attempt to imprison anyone who dares to challenge the mediocrity they embrace. They create a stifling environment where the freedom to be and express oneself is constantly questioned and attacked. In the spiritual journey, this battle against control is relentless. Jesus, in his time, faced the spirit of intimidation from religious leaders who tried at all costs to discredit him, manipulating public perception to silence his voice. They saw in his presence something they could not control, and this filled them with a fear that disguised itself as arrogance and condemnation. But Jesus did not bow. He maintained his stance, undisturbed by empty judgments, and stayed firm in his purpose, showing that no intimidation could extinguish what he carried in his essence. Overcoming these influences requires more than strength. It demands clarity of who you are and the recognition of your own worth. It is about not yielding to the need for approval, not allowing the fear of judgment to govern your decisions. It is an internal process where each choice becomes an act of resistance against the invisible chains trying to bind you. For the chosen ones, this battle is not just external. It is a daily confrontation with their own vulnerabilities, where the true victory lies in maintaining integrity and trust in their own journey. In September, it is crucial to remain alert and strong. The light you carry is the greatest threat to those who hide behind manipulation and intimidation. Your presence, your voice, and your authenticity are powerful enough to disarm any attempt at control. Facing these spirits is a daily affirmation that the freedom to be is an undeniable right, and that true strength lies in not allowing yourself to be shaped by the limitations imposed by others. The spirit of gossip and falsehood is like a poison that spreads subtly, contaminating everything around it with half-truths and malicious insinuations. For the chosen ones, September becomes a minefield where these twisted words seek fertile ground to grow and divide. Gossipers operate in the shadows, always close enough to observe, but distant enough to avoid responsibility for their actions. They manipulate narratives, distort facts, and their presence is felt as a constant noise trying to disturb peace and trust. These individuals, driven by their own insecurities, spread rumors and create stories that serve only to feed their wounded egos. They are people who, unable to face the truth of their own existence, find in slander a temporary sense of power. They fail to see the damage they cause or care about the consequences of their words. For them, it is easier to tear someone down than to confront their own fragilities. Jesus faced this reality head-on. Accused and slandered by the leaders of his time, he was the target of lies meant to tarnish his reputation and delegitimize his mission. Yet, he never bowed to falsehoods. His response was not one of anger or despair, but of unshakable serenity, reflecting his deep confidence in his own truth. He knew that no empty word could alter the purpose he carried, and this gave him the strength to continue, even when it seemed the world was against him. Overcoming the spirit of slander is not easy, but it is necessary. It is a battle against the urge to constantly prove who you are before an invisible court, where the judges are the ones who least understand what is truly at stake. One must remember that the truth, no matter how much it is attacked, always finds a way to surface. The integrity of those who remain faithful to themselves is the greatest answer to any attempt at defamation. In September, it is crucial to strengthen your own light and not be consumed by the need to respond to every subtle attack that arises. It is not about staying silent or hiding, but living so authentically that no lie can hold. The spirit of gossip is defeated when one chooses the silence that speaks louder than any defense, and above all, it is overcome by continuing to walk with your head held high, knowing that the truth does not need applause to shine. It simply is. Forgiveness is a powerful force, though rarely understood in its fullness. It is not merely a noble gesture, nor a sign of weakness. It is a silent release that reverberates deep within the soul. For the chosen ones, forgiveness becomes an essential tool, a kind of key that unlocks the invisible chains binding us to past mistakes and wounds that seem never to heal. September calls us to this inner movement of letting go, of freeing ourselves from the bitterness and burdens we carry, like weights that anchor us down. To forgive is more than just speaking the words. It is an inner work, a deliberate choice not to be consumed by what has been done to us. It is seeing the other, not with the expectation of an apology, but with the clarity that holding on to resentment is an act of self-imprisonment. Joseph, by forgiving his brothers, not only restored broken family ties, he placed himself in a position of authority and purpose, free from the bonds of hatred that could have turned his heart as bitter as those who betrayed him. He understood that forgiveness was not for the others, it was for himself. A necessary step to move forward without the weight of past pains. Jesus, throughout his journey, demonstrated the power of forgiveness in every word and action. He forgave those who persecuted, slandered, and unjustly condemned him. His forgiveness was not merely an act of greatness, but a clear message: No one has the power to define us by their actions. In forgiving, he freed himself from the world's expectations, showing that true strength lies in the ability to transcend pain and not let it shape us. Forgiving is an act of spiritual resistance, a reaffirmation that we are more than the wounds we carry. This September, we are invited to release what holds us captive. Each resentment is a link that binds us, and forgiveness is the scissor that cuts those bonds. It is a gesture not seeking absolution for the other, but liberation for ourselves. It is not about forgetting, minimizing, or accepting what was done. It is about shedding the weight on our shoulders, allowing the soul to breathe without the pressure of the past. Forgiveness is an act of courage that does not need applause, but a heart willing to be strengthened. It is a silent new beginning, where we leave behind what cannot be changed and embrace what still lies ahead. On this path of choices and renunciations, forgiveness becomes a bridge to a lighter, more focused, and more aligned state of spirit, with the journey that truly matters. It is, ultimately, a movement that liberates and strengthens, allowing each step forward to be taken with the confidence of one who has freed themselves from everything that once tried to hold them back. Rebuilding life is an act of courage and determination, a movement that demands more than just wishing for things to change. September emerges as a silent call to reconstruct what time, fear, and adversity have tried to destroy. It is a month when the universe seems to conspire in favor of those willing to act, where every gesture, every thought becomes a brick in the building of a new purpose. It is not merely about dreaming of a different life, but about rolling up your sleeves and carefully placing each piece in its rightful place with patience and faith. Just as Nehemiah rebuilt the walls of Jerusalem amidst opposition and danger, we are called to raise the parts of ourselves that have fallen into ruins. It is a process that requires perseverance, because the forces trying to stop us do not tire easily. There is always a whisper of discouragement, a bitter memory attempting to hold us back. But it is in this confrontation that the true character of the chosen ones is revealed, the ability to press forward, even when the path appears steep and uncertain. Decisive action is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. September is not a time for hesitation, but for firm movements, even if small. Every action, no matter how insignificant it may seem, is a step in the construction of something greater. It is in doing, in acting with purpose, that we find the strength to move forward, guided by an inner flame that nothing can extinguish. This is the moment to turn intentions into reality, to take what you have in your hands and carefully, decisively, mold the life you wish to live. September is a month of intense spiritual movements, where the celestial bodies seem to dance in a rhythm that profoundly affects us, even in subtle way. The full moon in Pisces, occurring in the early days of the month, brings with it an energy of introspection and revelation, as if illuminating the most hidden parts of the soul. This is a time when emotions rise to the surface, demanding attention and healing. It's a silent invitation to dive into the waters of the unconscious, confronting fears, repressed desires, and all that we avoid facing. Much like Jonah swallowed by the great fish, we are called to confront what is hidden, to descend into our personal depths in search of answers and renewal. The new moon in Virgo, arriving mid-September, marks the beginning of a fresh cycle full of possibilities. It is a time to plant new seeds, reorganize life, and realign anything out of place. Virgo encourages discipline, simplicity, and a return to what is essential. It's an invitation to restructure routines, take care of body and mind, and ensure that the small details of daily life align with our larger purpose. This is an ideal moment to start new projects, make plans, and sow intentions that are in harmony with what we aim to build. Every gesture, every new intention planted under this energy has the potential to flourish in the future. The autumn equinox, at the end of the month, stands as a powerful symbol of balance. Day and night meet in perfect harmony, reminding us of the need to find the same balance between the material and the spiritual, between giving and receiving. It is a moment to reflect on what we have harvested so far and what still needs to be planted. This period calls for inner adjustments, finding our center amidst chaos, and living in alignment with the purpose that guides us. The equinox invites us to integrate the spiritual into our daily lives, to transform every act into a reflection of our inner search. These spiritual events in September are not just celestial markers, they are portals that propel us inward, urging a sincere review of who we are and how we are living. They offer moments of pause, reflection, and realignment, where the universe provides a mirror to see beyond the obvious and make the necessary adjustments to walk in harmony with our own truth. September brings with it a sense that something greater is supporting us, an invisible protection that surrounds each step of the chosen ones. It is as if a silent hand guides the way, pushing aside dangers and quieting the voices that try to lead us astray. Divine protection is not something that can be seen, but rather felt. A presence that, even in the darkest moments, remains firm and unshaken, holding us steady in times of uncertainty. It is a shield not made of iron, but of faith, a barrier invisible to the eye, yet manifesting in daily victories, silent deliverances, and doors that open without explanation. This month, the grace of God pours out like a mantle, covering us in the midst of storms. It is a protection that goes beyond the physical, one that enters the heart and brings peace, even when everything around us seems turbulent. The image of an umbrella shielding us from the rain symbolizes this exactly. Divine intervention acting subtly but decisively, blocking the attacks of adversarial forces. Even when everything appears uncertain, there is a quiet assurance that we are not alone, that there is something protecting and guiding us. Walking under this grace is accepting that, no matter how strong we are, there are things we cannot face alone. It is recognizing that the power which protects us is not the result of human effort, but the constant presence of a God who sees beyond what we can perceive. He is the refuge in times of fear, the shelter when the world becomes hostile. This is not a protection that spares us from challenges, but one that gives us the strength to face them with heads held high, knowing that no harm can defeat us while we are under His care. September serves as a reminder that in every spiritual battle, God is present, fighting by our side. He surrounds us with His light, diverting traps and strengthening us to continue moving forward. His protection is not just a promise, but a reality, manifesting in the quietness of the heart, in the serenity that remains even amidst chaos. It is this grace that keeps us firm, sustains us, and reminds us each day that we are cared for, guided, and loved in ways that surpass all understanding. In September, the presence of angels becomes almost tangible, like a gentle breeze that touches the spirit and brings messages of comfort and direction. They are the silent messengers who walk beside us, ready to intervene in moments of doubt and solitude. Their signs appear when we need them most, a dream that awakens us, an intuition that guides, an unexpected encounter that changes the course. They are like whispers from God, subtle reminders that we are not abandoned, even when the world seems confusing and heavy. Angels do not come to remove our challenges, but to provide the courage and clarity needed to face them. They surround us in moments of weakness, lifting us when we are about to give up, inspiring us to move forward. The Bible is filled with accounts of these heavenly messengers, such as Gabriel, who brought news of hope and new beginnings. Similarly, we are visited by these presences that, though unseen, work in our favor, guiding us in difficult decisions and protecting us from invisible influences that seek to divert us from our path. The connection with these beings of light is a constant reminder that heaven is not distant. It is very close to us, attending to every detail, supporting us with each step. September invites us to pay attention to the signs, to open our hearts to hear what these messengers have to say. They are here, guiding us with gentleness and assuring us that no matter how arduous the journey, we are never alone. Spiritual discernment is like an inner compass that guides us in a world filled with subtle influences and conflicting energies. In September, this ability to see beyond appearances becomes essential. As spiritual challenges intensify and adverse forces seek to confuse and divert us, discernment is not merely a skill, but a vital necessity for those seeking to walk with clarity and purpose. It involves recognizing what adds to our peace and what threatens to undermine it, understanding the hidden intentions behind gestures and words that may initially seem harmless. Discernment teaches us to set boundaries, creating a safe space where negativity cannot take root. It's not about isolation, but protection, an invisible barrier that helps us maintain our integrity in the face of influences that seek to undermine us. Jesus, on many occasions, withdrew from crowds to preserve his energy and reconnect with the essence of his mission. Similarly, we are called to define what we allow into our lives, whether in the form of people, thoughts, or environments. Setting boundaries is an act of self-love and respect for our own journey. It means saying no when necessary, distancing ourselves from what drains us and staying close to what uplifts us. In September, spiritual discernment and boundaries become powerful allies, guiding us safely through the turbulent waters of life and keeping us steadfast on the path we have chosen to follow. September is more than just a month on the calendar. It is a call to the chosen ones, a time of decisions and courage. Each day, we are challenged to reaffirm our light amidst the shadows that attempt to envelop us. It is not merely about surviving challenges, but about advancing with the certainty that we are exactly where we are meant to be. The tests that arise are not obstacles to hinder us, but invitations to strengthen the spirit and align the heart with the greater purpose that drives us. This is the moment to embrace your true essence, to walk with conviction even when the ground feels unstable. The adversities that rise only serve to reveal the power within us and the need to persevere despite everything. You are chosen, not by chance, but for a reason that goes beyond immediate understanding. It is time to move forward with confidence, knowing that each step taken in September is a move towards what is most true within you. Do not let the uncertainties of the world stifle what burns in your heart. Keep going, even when the path seems lonely, even when the internal struggle intensifies. September is your portal of transformation. Cross it with courage, with faith, and with the conviction that what lies ahead is greater than any challenge left behind.